to Winging It and Winning, a podcast show where you can be motivated and inspired to follow your dreams. Today I have my friend Marlon on this show, who is a friend from college. Marlon is following his passion of hip-hop and acting. He has 10 albums out and has made an appearance on an indie film called The Year I Did Nothing. Please help me in welcoming my friend, Marlon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Congrats on your podcast.
Thank you, friend. I'm so excited. I met Marlon in college when we had the same major of human services, so we studied a lot together and spent a lot of time at Starbucks. He was that one friend I can lean on when I wanted to make studying a little interesting. And so I just thought I'd have him here to talk a little bit about his passion, because I think that he's come a long way, and just to, see what he's doing, I'm just so proud of him.
Oh, thank you. It's been a minute. I'm glad that we kept in touch, Beto. Thank you.
I know, me too. So Marlon, can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing and what got you into hip hop and all of that stuff?
So I was born in the Philippines, but I didn't really move to the U.S. till I was 10 years old, 1995, and my cousins were DJs, so I always saw my cousins messing with the turntables, but my moms couldn't really afford turntables, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to use my imagination for something else. Like, if I can't be a DJ, I definitely started mimicking the artists and the records that they were playing. So I started writing rhymes when I was 10 years old, but I didn't really start saying it out loud till I was like a freshman in high school, But even with that, it took me a while to drop my first album. I didn't really dropped my first album until I was 21, so it was like a lot of years spent polishing it first before I could even put out albums,
Yeah. When you came from, how old were you when you came from the Philippines?
I was 10.
Okay, so you're 10 years old and you saw your cousins doing DJing.
Yeah, they had all my cousins were DJs. They were my older cousins. They were brothers, and out of the 4 brothers, 3 of them had turntables, wax. They had records, and they would DJ house parties all over in Oxnard. And that was the little cousin feeling left out, man, how come I can't come? But they were just older than me. But that introduced me to hip hop, the music that they played, so that made me a fan first. So I was a fan first, definitely.
Who would you say, out of all the all the rappers, who motivated you the most? Who inspired you?
It was a lot, man. When I was young, I listened to everything from of course, Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Wu-Tang, Tribe, everything. So even to this day, I'm still getting inspired, but the formative years when I was young, Radman, Method Man, Dog Pound, too many to list,
Mm-hmm. And how did you realize you had that talent to write and rap? How did that come about? How did you realize your talent? You know what I mean? How did you get from having liking it and wanting to get into it to making your album and being in the studio and writing rhymes? How did you get there?
I felt like writing rhymes, I wasn't shy about it because I'm in control. I don't have to say this out loud, but saying it out loud, I felt I'm still trying to figure out if I have time. No, I'm just kidding. No, but saying it out loud, by the time I was 15, I knew I had something because people were like, oh shit. People around me was just I was getting some reactions for sure. And my homie Nick right here, I met him in college, and he was early on, before my first album dropped, he saw me rhyme, and he was always like, yo man, you got something, don't stop. So I think subconsciously I always respected what a hip hop had to say. If a real hip hop had said, yo man, you got something, keep going, it kept me going,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because I thought I was tight. I was kind of listening to people oh shit, you really think I got something? All right, I guess I'll keep trying, And then next thing you know, it just turned into albums, and next thing you know, I just started doing shows. And it's been nonstop ever since,
Yeah. I think that you said a good point, and you listened to people who were giving you positive feedback, right?
Yeah,
For those of you guys who don't know, I surprised Marlon with his college friend.
I love it.
I'm like the best friend in the world. And I was like, Marlon's going to be in this area. I reached out to his friend. He hasn't seen him over, 8 years. And I was like,
5-6 years, yeah.
Yeah, so like, can you come surprise him? Anyways, Nick is here. He's watching us record, so that's why.
Shouts to Nick Beard. Definitely helped me put out all my mixtapes and get my mixtapes together, To this day, we're still working on our mixtapes. To this day, you know what I'm saying? So it means a lot to me.
But back to my point of listening to people who believe in you, and those people who are close in your circle, who they have your best intentions at heart.
Yes.
That they're not going to BS you.
He's one of those.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Always told me the truth.
So it's kind of I think a secret, to have people in your circle who you trust their judgment.
You're going to need that.
Because it's going to be honest.
Yes.
Right? Good or bad. Because I'm sure he's told you, nah, that's not good.
Yeah.
He's giving you positive and negative feedback.
Yeah. The quality could always be improved. And he was there from the beginning. If the mix wasn't right, if he let me know. So it was a lot of fine tuning in the beginning. Like the first album, prior to the first album, a lot of fine tuning the sound. But as I'm getting older, I still send my music to Nick before I even drop it. I send it to him first, and he gives you the critique and the feedback, and we've been rocking for a while. So I'm really grateful that I got people like that, and you in my corner still, man, just still rooting for me. That means a lot.
Of course. Well, I think people who are positive and have that positive energy, it's vice versa. I think that our relationship is, it goes both the same way. I know if I have an idea, like I did with the podcast, right? Hey, Marlon, what do you think? And you really were like, do it.
I was like, do it.
And along with other people, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. It only takes for me 2 people to tell me to do something.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because they see something in me that, hey, maybe it'll work out. So, just like you said, people were telling you, yeah, you're good at it, and you went with it.
I went with it, but I'm still fine-tuning it. I feel like I'm never going to stop fine-tuning it. I'm still finding my voice. I'm still trying to find the next style, the next sound, so it's a never-ending job to keep fine-tuning this, because as an artist, I'm never fully content. Every now and then I look back and celebrate a little bit, but for the most part, it's always on to the next. What are you doing next? What are you doing next? What are you doing next? Mm-hmm. So.
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
And I think it's good that you admit, I'm still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Right? When you feel like you've accomplished everything, you're no, I'm perfect, then you have a big problem. Yeah. You have a bigger problem there than you.
I always talk to Nick about the sound of hip-hop, because the sound of the business model of hip-hop is always changing. So every year, you got to adapt and change with it. The beats that were dope this year may not be as dope next year. It's a different style all the time, and how people are consuming music and seeing and hearing about music. It's really different. It's not how when we grew up. It's just different. So, I'm a little old school in my ways, but I've been adapting more to the 2020 moving forward, because podcasts, we got to do this. Get some more content out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. So how do you deal with when songs don't pop off like you think they are, or they're not as good as you think they're gonna be, and oh man, it was a flop. How do you deal with those? I don't think you've had flops.
I've had flops. I would say my mixtapes that I dropped when I was acting, it didn't get as much streams as it would have. I had some mixtapes and projects where the streams wasn't as high as I thought, but it always surprises me on the songs that I didn't think would do well, does do well. And the songs that I think would get streamed a lot, didn't get streamed a lot. So I just think it's a hit or miss all the time, but I'm learning hey, I can't please everybody. Whoever can gravitate to it, that's dope, but I take rejection pretty well. This music business is all about rejection. So I'm almost numb to it, But I focus on the positive, dang, this song on YouTube is getting streamed a lot, for example, for this last album, Walk Away From Love, it's a reggae island song about breakups and relationships. I didn't think my homies and my hip hop heads would be yo, I fuck with that. I thought they would be that's some love shit. But the homies were doing like, yo, I relate to that the most. So, yeah, there's ups and downs. Sometimes some songs connect and some don't.
Mm-hmm. And have you and like you said, you're numb to it. You don't take it personal. You're just like, oh, you know, you can't please everyone. That's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, I'm numb to it. Like, I just think hip hop is so broad, you know. You are gonna find your niche and your market, you know. So I'm in a different age bracket too. At 36, I think maybe I'm not appealing to those who are 26 and under. Like maybe I'm just appealing to those in my early 30s, late 30s, mid 30s. Because I can see the streams. I can see what countries are streaming, how many, what man or women, where are they streaming it from. I can see it all in my database. So it's interesting. Like, I got a lot of people in our early 30s, mid 30s really tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
And countries like Netherlands, I don't know how Netherlands is streaming me. Russia, Singapore, Mexico. Like, I'm getting some streams in countries I've never seen. So I'm just like, I don't know how it's getting out there, but
but it's getting out there.
Yes, I see the
good.
streams.
Mm-hmm. And like you said,
I'm shocked.
I like what you said earlier too, when you said like you celebrate the wins. You know, you try not to focus on the losses so much, but you just celebrate when there's a win. You take a second to like, you know, appreciate or like celebrate what you've been able to accomplish.
Yes, I'm getting better with that. I wasn't always like that. I'm a bit of a workaholic, but now I am celebrating the wins. Like, I'm really proud about the podcast. You know, I just feel like it's the next phase of my life and my career, and I'm really proud about the album. I just dropped the album 2 months ago. Then I started the podcast. Then I dropped the video. I'm surprising myself at 36 that I'm still dropping content. Like, sometimes you know, as you get older, I think it's harder, but I don't know. I'm still inspired.
You're still doing it.
I still feel like I have a couple of things to say every now and then.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's when I go to the studio. I never force it. I go back to the studio when I feel like it's time. You know, I'm always getting beats from Nick. You know, I'm always going through the beats he's sending me, and if something connects, I'm gonna go. Like, so it's been really cool making music. You know.
Yeah.
It's therapy.
That's your therapy.
It is.
Because you also have a full-time job.
I do have a full-time job. Yes.
Tell them what you do.
I'm sick of. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do behavior therapy for kids with autism for the school district in San Diego. But after the pandemic started, I haven't gone back. But I'm still doing tutoring for kids out of my own. And I've always been doing home care for kids with autism this whole 8 years. Right? I've been living in San Diego for 10 years, but I've been doing this for like almost 11 years now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I work with the kids all day, every day.
So rapping and like your podcast is like your outlet.
Yes. I need it.
Yeah. It's your adult time.
No, but I love the kids, man. I feel like, just my opinion, I'm working with the unfortunate. The kids with autism will not get the same opportunities that we have. And I always feel like they're going to need services for the rest of their lives forever. And sometimes it fucks me up, like their parents will get old. And what's going to happen when their parents get old? Like, it becomes more interesting to me as my clients age.
Mm-hmm. What would you say they have taught you, if anything? What have they taught you?
I have a lot of patience for them, but I don't have patience for regular people, so I don't know. I think they're teaching me that I do have patience when I choose to have patience. They're teaching me humility, because some have trouble walking, some can't go to the bathroom on their own, some have social skills that are so horrible that they get kicked out of every schools. It's like the kids that nobody wants to hang with, or the kids that just get kicked out of the school districts. And I feel like what I do for a living is something that not a lot of people want to do, but it's been fun. It's been stressful at times. I get burned out, just like anyone that's in the mental health field. So I think my creativity is like an outlet for me to just vent productively, because we can try to numb the stress by like drinking, smoking, and I've done that. I know how that is too, by numbing the stress in that way, but I just feel like this is the most creative I've ever been. I feel like as I'm getting older, I can multitask a little better.
Well, if anyone's up for the job of working with the children who have disabilities, it's you.
Oh, thank
You
you.
have a very good heart and very humble, very personable.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm. So I'm sure they love having Marlon. Do you ever rap for them? Hey, give me a beat. Come on, don't tell me you haven't. I'm sure you do. You try to.
You know, sometimes I hate my coworkers for telling them, "Do you guys know Mr. Marlon raps?" And they put it out there, and the next thing you know, the kids are like, "I saw your video." Like, they will type Marlon D on the YouTube, and they're like, "I saw your video, Exile. Is that you?" But they're getting smarter these days. The kids in junior high, yeah. Some know, but I don't go out of my way to say it. It's like it's always my coworkers saying it for me. Like, "Do you know Mr. Marlon?" Yes. But they're like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Because they only saw me in one light, like
Right.
I'm the tutor that's there helping them every day. But I do have a different life the minute I clock out of there.
I mean,
It's
it's
like I
kind
run
of.
to the parking lot like this. I'm off. Yes.
It's kind of like us though. Like when we were little, we didn't know our teachers had another life. Like we
Yeah.
have kids. Like we thought you just stayed at school the rest of your like all day.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I
your
mean?
life.
Like when you're like in elementary school, like oh, they do have a family.
Yeah, they're funny.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, Marlon. I'm really happy. So how? Okay, now you're doing acting. Like I said earlier, you were in an indie film called The Year I Did Nothing. How did you get into that?
So, I mean, when I was in high school, I always did like theater, and I pursued it like maybe the first year of college. I landed the lead role, and like I was part of the Filipino group, PASA. It's like the Filipino Student Association. So I did it even in college, but I think when I dropped my 9th album, it was like 2017. I still hit the road for that, but around 2018, I think I was getting a little burned out. So I was just a little tired. I was just burned out. Like, you know what? I need a break. I need a break from all this. And I started taking acting classes first. So I did it 3 months at one school, and I did it 3 months at another school. So 6 months all in all. But within the time that I was doing acting classes, I was auditioning for theater, and like I was actually landing the roles. So I've been doing theater straight for 2 years straight. I've done about 9 plays at Community Actors Theater in San Diego. And I was doing short films around town, and I had enough to develop a reel to start sending to casting agencies, and I landed The Year I Did Nothing, and they needed someone that could speak fluent Tagalog, so I was like, I can speak it, and shouts to Alan Barreto. It really got out there in the indie route. Like, I was surprised, like PBS Guam played it.
That's cool.
Manila CNN was promoting it. It was just like, oh shit, it got out there. But right now the shows are canceled because of this pandemic. So I'm waiting to get back to theater. I miss it.
Yeah. I can't wait to go see you.
Oh man, that'll be so fun.
Yeah. You did good in the movie though.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, I was so happy. I was like, hey, there's Marlon.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so happy for you.
Thank you. That was a crazy story. I like how it was edited, and it really connected to the story of the Filipino immigrants that come to the U.S. and what we have to go through to get citizenship or to get a tourist visa, working visa. Like, Filipinos had to go through a lot. So
Yeah, so stressful.
it was comedic, but it was like some real shit. Like, it really is like that. Am I allowed to cuss? My bad. I'm gonna be editing it.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so what kind of advice would you tell people, Marlon, who are getting into acting or trying to pursue their dreams in, music and all of that? What would you tell your younger self?
I'm gonna tell my younger self that the work doesn't stop if you really care about your craft, and it is called the music. It is called the music business, so be prepared to do some business, and it's the business part is not always the fun part, but you do have to get that in order, and you have to stay a fan of hip hop if you want to get into this as an artist. You gotta be a fan. You gotta stay a fan. As far as acting, I really think that you should take acting classes and start doing theater before you even get on camera. I think theater will really hone your skills as an actor. And the greatest ever had to start in theater, from Marlon Brando to Pacino to De Niro. I mean, everyone had to do it. So, yeah, pay dues and work your way up,
Yeah, work your way up. Nothing comes easy, right?
Nah, hell no. Nothing.
Tell them where they can find where can they stream your music, where they can find you if they want to reach out.
Yo, for all those for my album, I got a new album out called Act 2, now out in all digital stores, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify. And for my catalog of albums and mixtapes from 2005 to 2020, it's at mcmarlond.bandcamp.com. My music video, Change is Gonna Come, is now out on YouTube. And thanks to everybody tuning into my podcast. I got like 13 episodes out, MD Podcast. Thanks to all my subscribers and everyone tuning in.
Awesome. Well, Marlon, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Time is one of the most valuable gifts you can give someone. So thank you for giving me your time and being here today.
Means a lot. Means a lot. Thank you so much.
To those of you watching and listening to our podcast, I just want to say today we talked to Marlon, who never gave up on his passion and continues to do great things with his talent. Remember that winging it and winning is a mindset, and only you have the power to create your best life. Have a good night. Bye. Till next time.
Peace.
It's a wrap.